Here, and this too. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. How are you? How's everyone doing tonight? Are you happy? Are you excited? That's great. It's a beautiful building. Just incredible. Oh my God. It's been an exciting day here at Kenyon and elsewhere. I don't know if you saw that Stephen Bannon was removed from the National Security Council. Sounds like you guys really like him, which is exciting. So I don't really know anything at all about jazz, or jazz, but I was asked to open. I said, sure, why not? It's so fun. I just thought I would sort of share the first experience I had with jazz. First experience with jazz arts. So I was a freshman in high school, and I wore glasses. They were like this, which was very cool. I had dirty blonde hair, like just unwashed, and the amazing thing about it was that it always turned into a bowl cut, no matter what I did. Whether I washed it or didn't wash, when I didn't wash it all days, it just became a bowl cut. I was typically wearing cargo shorts, and actually I think the pair, yes. I think that the pair I had were actually the top portion of zip-offs. And I had been at the beach one day. It was hot. It was like 60, 65 degrees, and I was just sweating, just like puking sweat. And so I decided to unzip, as it were, and put them down and threw them into the sand, and then went and played lacrosse by myself for an hour and a half. And when the time had come to pack up, get your beach balls in your body and get ready to go, I went to pick up my bottoms, and I tried to zip them up, but the zippers were so full of Fritos and sand that I couldn't zip them. So I just balled them up and just threw them into the ocean, and it was really cathartic. And I think actually at this point they're sort of just floating on that trash island in the Pacific Ocean, that like Yertle the Turtle, toucans, they own the place, really. And so I recently bought a guitar, which is, and I didn't know anything at all about the guitar. But my high school was holding open auditions for the jazz ensemble, and Mr. Laguna, his name was Mr. Laguna, was the director, and he had very cool sunglasses and this shiny goatee. So I figured if there were reason enough to join the band. And actually, the first interaction I'd had with him was like 6 months before. The school had taken a trip to the opera, which now that I think about it is a strange choice. It was like 6 hours long, and people were just dying in the seats. And Mr. Laguna had on this suit, and I totally idolized the guy. It's like, oh, Mr. Laguna, you look like the president. And he had the flip-up glasses, so he looked down at me and was like, how dare you compare me to a politician? It's like, and then he walked away, and I hadn't spoken to him since, so I figured now was as good a time as any to reinvigorate that relationship. And the instructions for the audition was very vague. He didn't really tell us anything about what he wanted. And so I had prepared a G major chord, as well as a sort of halting version of Stairway to Heaven, which when played slowly enough and poorly enough and without an amp, approximated Louis Armstrong's voice. So I figured it was very jazzy, very cool. So the day of the audition arrived. I sat on the bus, and I wanted to listen to jazz. I really wanted to get into it, and so I went through my scroll wheel of my second-gen iPod Nano, just desperately looking for something, and I forgot I bought this song. And it was I listened to a piccolo jazz flute heavy version of Hedwig's theme from Harry Potter. It was on an album called Kids Dig Jazz. I accidentally bought it about a year back, And because the iTunes preview was just the beginning. It was just the beginning. And so I sat down with it once at 99 cents. And so I sat down with it and once at the ready and put in my headphones. And then it was as if it had come from the back of the room, but you just hear, and then it was a mess. It was a disaster. And it was the worst purchase I've ever made, still. But I listened to it, and I was, like, getting in the groove. And so the day arrived. I was, school day, 10th period. The audition came. Again, I was sweating profusely. It just happens. And it's like, shoot, I should have put on deodorant today or any day for the last 13 years of my life. But I went into the room, and we had this cavernous band room, and Mr. Laguna was sitting there, and he was on this little stool, back like 90 degrees, and then he just looks up at you, and it's just this, it's like, are you Justin Clark? I said, yes, I'm Justin Clark. And he said, are you the one who filled out this audition slot like 8 times and erased your name every time, put it at the very last slot? And I was like, no, I don't know who that is. And so I asked if I could do my Led Zeppelin thing without an amp, and he was like, no, that's not cool, which was too bad. And so I asked for a chord, and I plugged it into the bottom of my guitar. I had never seen an amplifier. I didn't know what to do. And so I just plugged it into the end, and it was just dangling on this side of the amp. And I turned the amp on, and just like this sound. And then I began to play, and the sound that came out of the guitar. If I were in a seminar, I would describe it as either a very interesting point, non-discursive. And actually, do you know that the flying spaghetti monster sculpture out in the store? So imagine if you took just the world's littlest scissors and went just to the very, just on your tippy toes, went to the very top, and just the strings that attached it to the ceiling, and it just came crashing down to the floor. And then you took a double bass and just hit a piece of glass. That's very close to what the sound was like. And so I played, and then it was almost an out-of-body experience. I left myself. I was seeing myself playing this thing. It went on for like 15 minutes, and suddenly I ended my G major chord. Thank you. And Mr. Laguna, sat out and went, nice. And then I walked out. I farted for like 20 minutes. And I was led into the jazz ensemble. He loved my audition. It was the best moment of my life, honestly. So that was just my first experience with jazz. And now I hope that tonight you'll have another great experience with jazz. So please join me in welcoming the illustrious Take 5.